You're listening to the Raccoon Roundtable podcast, number 65. I'm Chris Sagana, and this is my co-host,
Rachel Ibanez, and our guest for today's episode is Ginger Lim-Dimapasok. So Ginger is actually the co-founder and president of Cafe 86, and she was the season 1 Chop Suite champion. So on today's podcast, Ginger shares her journey coming to the United States to pursue culinary arts, and basically just how she grew her business as a first-generation Filipino American.
Awesome. And as you can see, we have a new face. Not really a new face because you've seen her before, but she's our first time hosting, Rachel,
Yes.
who did an amazing job. How fun was it? How fun was it to meet Ginger?
Oh, it was great. It was very inspiring to hear her story and just, it's like there's so much relation, not only just because we're Filipino, but the values that we share and the hobbies that we share and the things that we love. It was really great, honestly, talking to her. I'm gonna take everything she said, honestly, take it to my heart.
Definitely a role model. Definitely someone who's not just really knowledgeable and loving, but really funny. There are a few things that we probably can add in here that you said or did. But
that is
definitely
true, yeah.
a fun episode.
Yeah,
Can't
it
wait for you
was
guys to hear
great.
it.
Yeah. So excited.
All right, so I am really excited for our guest today, Ginger Dimapasok. She is actually a co-founder of Cafe 86. If you know me, I am a huge lover of ube. I am actually really obsessed with it. So, but actually following Ginger on Instagram and seeing her interviews and her episode on Chop Suites, I've been not just a fan of Cafe 86. I'm a huge fan of Ginger, and I really, really appreciate you taking time to meet with me and Rachel, and for us to get to know you. So, I guess just for everybody to understand, who you are and where you come from. If you give us a quick background, just what Cafe 86 is and what you're doing right now.
Thanks for having me. First of all, I really appreciate you guys reaching out. Well, I'm Ginger, like you said, Ginger Lim-Dimapasok. I was born and raised in Manila, moved to the United States in 2001 when I got married. I was a stay-at-home for the longest time until my husband decided that we were gonna go a different path and start something for ourselves. He was stuck in a corporate job that he wasn't too happy with. So he was thinking maybe, do a small business. He was a car guy, is still a car guy. Cafe is actually named after his 1986 Toyota Corolla, if that's something.
Right.
You guys,
wow.
It's named after his car, inspired by the car meets that he would attend at different boba shops and ice cream shops around here in SoCal. And he wanted his own place where he would have his own car meet. And for me, that was easy because then I'd never have to hunt him down, first of all. We'd have our own little spot within the city where I figured our kids could eventually hang out in. And that was really the birth of Cafe 86. The intention for Cafe 86 was just to be like a simple boba shop. The baking aspect was not part of the original business plan, actually. I think it was 2 days prior to us opening when my husband, he was so alarmed and said, "We're not going to feed people anything." I realized that. And I'm like, "What do you mean feed? You were supposed to just be drinks, right? They're going to chew on boba. That's food." Like he said, I think we kind of have to give something other than the drinks. And since you bake, I had a background in baking. He said, "Why don't you just bake something?" And I said, "Are you sure you want me to bake something? Because I'm not your normal baker where I'm not going to make you something vanilla or chocolate." And he's like, "What are you going to make?" I said, "I'm going to make ube."
Yo.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's what I love. It was my vanilla growing up since I grew up in Manila. So naturally, I really gravitated to ube. And my niece and I back then thought of recipes that we could integrate ube with. First thing we ever made was an ube cinnamon roll. And I think, that was like one of our originals. And back then, no one was making that. So we were making ube cinnamon rolls out of my house, currently where I am right now, out of my single door oven that fits 2 trays.
Nice.
So that would, in perspective, be about 24 cinnamon rolls. old 1965 oven. So 2 little trays, about 24 cinnamon rolls would come out of that. And then we started to mess with the original concept of the ube truffles. And back then, we weren't really thinking that people would come. We were just making something we like to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And then we finally opened the doors. And I remember that first day, it was a huge car meet. We sold out within like 2 hours.
Wow.
And I mean, another thing, I wasn't making a lot. It was coming out of a small dinky oven. And then every day since opening, everyone would just come and ask, so what are you guys baking today? I think they totally kind of forgot about our ube milkshakes and calamansi iced teas for a while and kind of focused on what desserts we're going to make. So that really was the beginning of Cafe 86, the house that Ube built.
Nice.
Love that.
I mean, so you said you started off with cinnamon rolls. Is that still on the menu? I don't think I've seen cinnamon rolls at Cafe 86.
It's not currently on the rotation, but it may be coming soon. So,
nice.
Keep an eye out on social media. We just recently moved buildings, so we are currently trying to figure out how to scale up. It used to be that creating a new recipe was fun and easy to pull off when you're just baking for one store.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became 2. And then it became 3. And now we're at 7. You develop a recipe, you have to figure out how to scale it times 8.
Right.
So it's not as easy as everyone thinks it would be when they say, can you make this? I sure can. Can I scale it? Is the next question.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're working on right now. It's really being able to easily scale for growth.
I would say I've been to I want to say 3 or 4 of your different locations, and it's been consistent. I mean, it seems like you're back there baking all the stuff. So, I mean, it's always been solid whenever I've been there.
Well, it does come out of one commissary kitchen. So we're really adamant on trying to maintain the quality.
Mm-hmm.
Before I became a business owner, I was first and foremost a consumer. And as a consumer, you strive to find the quality of the food that you eat.
Mm-hmm.
And when I visit a Porto's here and a Porto's somewhere else, I expect it to be the same.
Yeah.
That's really a big inspiration for us, is to be someday kind of like Porto's, where the cheese rolls in Glendale will taste just like the cheese rolls in West Covina.
Oh, that's what's up. And in the future, Downtown Disney, because they're opening Downtown Disney.
Yeah.
And you will too, probably, I would say.
Investing, hopefully someday.
I think, Rachel, did you have a question about as far as her journey here from the Philippines?
Yeah, we're very curious about, kind of what inspired you to come here to the US to pursue culinary. And, a lot of us, even up to now, our parents are a big influence on our decisions when it comes to our careers and their support for us. So we just kind of want to know, what was those conversations like with your parents, and how much support did they have for you, and how much more support do they have for you now that you have, 7 locations of Cafe 86,
You guys are going to probably be shocked at what I'm going to tell you, because I'm 45. To put you guys into perspective, I'm 45 years old. I graduated high school in 1996. And my original thought was I was going to become a lawyer. I was kind of like an activist back in the Philippines. And
oh, nice.
I had really strong opinions about a lot of things. My dad was in politics. And yeah, I had really strong opinions and really wanted to pursue law so that I could kind of, fight for the little ones and all that. And I think my parents, knowing what the kind of personality I had, it worried them that I actually wanted to pursue that. And since my dad was in politics, I kind of knew the path that I would take, which is activism. So I said, okay, I think I'll pursue law. Let me go into UP, University of the Philippines. I worked so hard to get into that school, and I did. And I remember the day before I was going to register for classes, my parents held an intervention for me. Both parents said, we want you to listen to us, and we want you to not go into UP. And I'm like, what are you saying? They're like, we just don't think this is right for you, because we don't want you to end up dead on a gutter because of your beliefs and your activism.
Oh, yeah.
Like crying, because what do you mean? I worked
Yeah.
hard to get into this school. I ended up in an all-girls convent called Assumption College, taking up communication arts for 1 year. And then after completing my first year, I announced to my parents that, nope, this is not what I wanted to do. And then my mom goes, then what do you want to do? I said, I honestly don't know anymore. I thought I wanted to become a lawyer. And they said, what do you want to do? And I thought they were just going to beat me up for wanting to drop out. But she actually asked me, what do I want to do? And I said, to be honest, I don't know anymore. And I'm not quite sure. And then she brought it up. Well, you do love to cook and bake. Would you like to give that a shot?
Oh, wow.
What do you mean? Like, just try it out. And I said, here in the Philippines, where there was no culinary programs yet. Well, this is one school that's starting it, but it was so new. I tried that for a year. And then she said, maybe I can figure out how to send you abroad to the US. And for me, we were like a middle-class family. My mom was working finance. My dad was like a public relations guy working for politicians. And I'm like, how the hell are we going to afford that? Can you afford it? And she's like, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So I went to the United States. That was like mind-blowing to me that, first of all, they didn't beat me up. They didn't disown me. They allowed me to come to the States. And, you know, I came here, studied culinary arts, and I guess the rest, you say, is history. Although I'd never worked in the culinary industry for long. For a little bit, had kids and forgot about it until Cafe 86 came.
Wow. That's a beautiful story. I mean, it's usually almost the opposite, where the child's like, I like this, you know, and I'm not sure if I'll make much money. The parents are all like, well, we need stability. You know what I mean? It's that scarcity mindset, I think, that comes from our culture, is that where there's not enough often, you know, like financially. So that's why they want us to pursue like healthcare or something that seems safe or that will have a higher income. But it's beautiful to hear that your parents are like, I think, well, don't you like this? Don't you want to try to do that?
Yeah, I mean, right now with my own children, I think I have learned from what I went through with my parents that, you know, I'll let them be who they want to be. Of course, you know, you have that Asian mom in you with and I still hear myself some days trying to convince my daughter, do you remember when you wanted to be a lawyer? Maybe you should pursue this and pursue that. I still hear myself say that, and I still hear myself tell my son, you know, Cal Poly is a great engineering program. And I am still that Filipino mom at the end of the day. And I think, I don't know what it is. And I think I did ask my mom recently. I said, what made you not push me to do anything else? She said, I knew deep inside that that's what you wanted to do. I didn't know if you were really going to push for it, but I knew that that's what in your heart you wanted to do. So I guess she let that be.
Yeah.
Bahala na. Like, that's what she did.
Wow.
Yeah. Moms have like this intuition, you know, they know things that we don't know yet for ourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like they have they see the potential that we see in ourselves. So that's amazing that your mom said that. That really touched my heart. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, that touched my heart too, because I mean, when I was trying to find out what I wanted to do, exactly what you said, Ginger, it's like I started going to these different programs in healthcare because I thought that was the right thing to do. And then one day my mom saw me in scrubs. I was getting ready to go to this program, and she said, that's not you. I don't think that's you. And that sounds exactly what you said, Rachel. It's like moms have this intuition that's like, you know, sorry, like we're all getting emotional now.
We love our moms.
I know, for real.
And I see my kids, and, you know, I really wish for financial stability for them. I wish for happiness for them. But, you know, I worry, like my 15-year-old son does nothing but play video games and stream.
We all did that back then. So
nothing but that. He's a good kid. He's a great student. I know he's very smart, but he's in this phase where it's all about his streaming and stuff like that. And one day a check came in the mail. I'm like, what check is this? He's like, it's from Twitch. I'm like, what do you mean it's from Twitch? Oh, I have affiliate.
Wow.
I'm this affiliate something on Twitch, and I made $100. I'm like, for doing what? And he's like, I stream and people give me stuff. I'm like, well, what are we doing wrong? Are you sleeping too much? Because 100 is good. I said we probably need. What do we need to do? I was kidding, of course, but I know where he wants to do, what he wants to do. But right now, I'm just like, finish school. That's all I ask. Pursue something in college, and then you can figure out what you want to do. I mean, I said it doesn't even have to be like USC or it could be trade. I will not be mad for you going into a trade school.
Thank you.
If that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
that's what you want to do. You want to learn graphics design. You want to be a mechanic. Something. That's all. Just try something before you knock that 4 years or 2 years of education.
Right.
You don't have to be Ivy League or whatever. Something you're gonna love.
Yeah, it's having that ambition. It's being motivated to find what's for you, and that's, I think, what parents really want. But like, going back to you, I think I want to know, like, because you said that you so you went to school for culinary arts, and then you were in the corporate world for a little bit, and then you took care of your kids, and then you decided to open Cafe 86.
Yeah.
So I know with, like I said, entrepreneurship, a lot of people are afraid to start their own business, do the risk. What made you pursue that? Like, what inside you said, okay, this is the right time? Was there like a hump that you had to get over to actually just do it? So what was your experience with that?
I'll be 100% transparent with you. I am a scaredy cat when it comes to business. It's not me. It is my husband who is here, and he is the one who really motivated us to get into business, into entrepreneurship. He worked in sales all his life in the tech industry, and he's like one of the best salesmen I've ever known, next to my mom, who's also a great salesman. So he said, it's in you. I know it's in you. It's in your blood. But I was the one who was baking in high school and giving everything away. So I'm that person. So I'm not really adept with economics and financial jargon. He is. So I'm the creative. He's the business side.
That's cool.
We work together in mostly a harmonious way, mostly. Like I said, transparency. I will not like we want to kill each other someday. For the most part, it's been a really good partnership because he makes sure that the business aspect is well taken care of. And to be honest, look, we have like 7 stores now, and that's all my husband's doing. I'm merely the creative, and we work together and like that. So it took a lot. It took a big leap of faith, to be honest, to do it. Our goal was to just have one store and fill our 15-seater Chino location. Little did we know that we were going to open a store every single year.
Wow.
So it's really a big leap of faith. And really just having a good support system. And then we'll talk about that support system if you guys will give me a minute. Filipino community is something that we never knew we could tap into. So as entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs, Asian, Filipino entrepreneurs, there was really not a lot of help that we could access. It's different for us to get into business in this day and age, but there was a community out there who was really willing to help you. Like, ask and you shall receive. Like, you have questions you need answered. There's a Filipino for every need. Do you need a Filipino that will help you with funding? There's someone out there. Do you need a Filipino to help you with doing your business plan? Yep. Real estate? Yes.
Wow.
So that's all within reach in our community. And that's the most amazing thing that we have gotten to really realize in this entrepreneurial journey.
How did you find them? You know, you said there's like a Filipino for everything you need. Like,
She has them in her pocket.
When we opened Cafe 86, it was natural for the Filipinos to come and,
Right.
come and see the business and get to know us. A lot of people who became our friends, you just eventually have a conversation. What do you do? Who do you work for? Well, and then I met one day a woman named Anna Marie Cruz, who is with entrepreneurship.
Oh yeah, I heard about them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, entrepreneurship actually was the first community organization that I kind of jumped into. There was a lot of obviously Filipino women who were small business owners. We didn't really do much in the beginning other than sit, talk to each other, commiserate, cry, and then help each other in the process. So Anna Marie works in finance. And then eventually I met a lot of people in the culinary space who were business owners like myself, who became friends. And now, we're all working together, doing almost the same thing, like my Be Sweet in Sautel. Chef Barb is a good friend of mine. Christine de la Cruz of Creme de la Creme out in the Valley. She's a good friend of mine. To me, we all do the same thing, but we all work together just the same.
Man, I love that. It's like you're not. Oh, go ahead, Rachel.
Oh no, you can go. It's okay.
I know you got to say something, girl.
No, I was gonna say, like, just tying into that, so my husband and I, we do it for fun too. We're in Vegas and we're both in school, and so we just made ube bibingka for our family recently, and they loved it. And I was like, oh shoot, well maybe we can sell it. And so actually, this weekend we're actually same thing. We have just a one door oven. We do it in our house. We wake up really early, and that's what we're gonna do this weekend. But just now that you have your own business, and how important is it to you, or what does it mean to you to actually share your Filipino culture with other people, that even if they are Filipino or even if they're not, how important is that for you? Because I know I can share with you why we do it also, but I just want to hear from you.
And I think what I tell everyone is the story of me getting into the industry and being approached by Filipinos about culture. And I'm like, I don't want to be arrogant, but I was born and raised in the Philippines. I really have nothing to prove to anyone. That's what my initial way of thinking was like, do I really need to prove anything to anyone or explain what I'm doing to anyone? In the beginning, that was my mindset. And then I realized I had two little American-born Filipino children. And all of a sudden, I have everything to prove and everything to work for. Because not only am I trying to establish culture with, other Filipino Americans, but I wanted to make sure that my own kids understood what it's like to be Filipino American. And for them to have that connection from here and root themselves from here back to the Philippines the way I am. Right. So it really takes a lot. It takes a big village in order for us to be able to maintain identity, especially in this day and age where they don't even know, what they are anymore. So now I'm just happy that my kids understand the culture. They are proud to baon sinigang, to school, adobo, and rice. Every holiday party at school, they want to bring ube leche flan or ube truffles. So to be honest, I'm really just doing it. The heart of it is my kids. I want them to grow up rooted in culture. And eventually when they get married and have children of their own, be able to pass that on.
Wow. Man, I love that. Because I'm a Filipino American, born and raised here. Military kid, moved around, but it's like I get lost in my own identity sometimes too. And I think with you sharing the culture with them, the best way is through food, I think, what I mean? But I want to go back to a comment you made about there's other bakeries that, you team up with through that also Panay who are entrepreneurs who I think you said Be Sweets and another bakery. I love that because I think of Simu Liu. I'm not sure if you read his book recently, but he has a book where he says that he doesn't want Asian Americans to feel like they have to compete for this small cake. You know what I mean? That we're all just trying to find an opportunity and we have to compete with each other. It's like we have to uplift each other and make a bigger cake for the rest of us and the next generations to come.
Mm-hmm.
We have to open doors, not just think that that person who's trying to do the same thing is trying to compete with me. And I love that story that you share with us, with the others. And now with your kids and, sharing your culture through food with them. And I want to bring up your experience on Chop Sweets on the Food Network, which is a huge, I know you told us a little bit about the experience offline, but I mean, you shared our culture there, I want to say most of the dishes were inspired from Filipino desserts, like the halo halo. And then I want to say they called it, I think, an egg roll, but I mean, that's like turon, right? Like what you try to make.
I was like, that looked good.
I know.
Named all my desserts. You renamed it because when you make the dish, they ask you what it's called, and I called it what it is, and they'll rename that mess. But they,
oh gosh,
they kept halo halo, thank God, but they renamed the turon. They renamed. I actually called it mais con queso, but that got.
They're like, nah.
They changed it up. They whitewashed it.
I thought the same too. I was like, that's mais con queso. I'm pretty sure.
When I was preparing for Chop, I had one thing in mind, and I said, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do Filipino recipes.
Right.
So I just really followed my heart and did what instantly came into mind. And you're gonna give Filipinos weird ingredients. That's our jam. Like,
yeah, you're right.
You open it and I see corn. I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord.
Let's go.
That's halo halo. You just mix whatever.
Did you not know? But yeah, that was quite an experience, and I'll definitely never forget.
Oh man, I love that. Do you guys have anything planned for October? Is anything going on for Cafe 86?
For Cafe 86, we do nothing but participate with whatever everyone else is doing because we're Filipino all year round. It don't change.
Oh yeah.
But if someone else is like doing a bigger event, we'll participate. Like we're working with SIPA for the second week of October for their big gala. I know there's a bunch of other things lined up with Historic Filipino Town that we're
oh yeah.
Yeah, so we pretty much usually just are a support system or spectating during that month because on its own that's already a lot to just supporting all the events. So that's just us. We're always lurking on the back end, just being there to support the community. Speaking
of like, I know that were you at the Jokoi Easter Sunday premieres to cater? How'd that work out?
We were, a good friend of mine is Alan Palos. Alan Palos is one of Joe's best friends. So we were visiting Alan at one of their pop-in screenings at Orange County one day. I was just there dropping off something for my friend Alan, and then they needed help because Joe does these pop-ins at the movie theaters during the Easter Sunday showing, where he would stay at like an AMC from 11 a.m. till the last full show.
Wow.
And pop into each and every single screening.
Wow.
To talk to his fans. And they give out merch and and we were just dropping off something and they needed help, and we ended up working the whole night with them. And then working the next few days with them, and the guy is a monster. He's a beast. It kind of upsets me that a lot of people, kind of hate on him.
It's too bad.
It's too bad. It's just the saddest part about the community is a lot of people are still little-minded.
It's the crab in a barrel. I mean, David talked about that a lot.
Mentality and, just like what Simu said, I mean, Joe opened a gigantic Hollywood double door.
Yes.
For us.
He did.
Yeah.
It's a gigantic door that was never open for us, ever. I cried when I watched the movie because I'm like, is that Universal? And then Filipinos. And he's still holding that door open for us.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a lot of the Filipinos are beating on him. He's exhausted.
Yeah.
he doesn't have to do this first and foremost. He
Yeah.
doesn't have to,
Mhm.
but he did it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I think really what needs to happen in the community is really work on just allowing each other to shine,
Yes.
because there's enough sunshine for everyone. The sun is so big. I would hate to be the only one selling ube, because then everyone will get sick of my ube. So it's good. Let my friend sell out in the west side, my other friend in the valley. I'll take this turf. We'll get tired if we're the only ones doing it.
Yeah, that's cool. And it builds that community, like you said. You know?
Yeah, bayanihan. That's the true bayanihan spirit. We need to just uplift each other. Yeah, people be crazy.
People be crazy.
And like, let him be. He's like doing so much.
And he's always repping us, you know? He's always repping us.
Everyone is just doing their best. And I think if we just focus on that, and that everyone is doing their ultimate best to keep, if one is up, we should just bring each other up instead of pulling one another. Because that one person up can bring us up. So, yeah, people be crazy. Tiring. It's tiring sometimes, you know, being in this, serving our own people who hate on our own stuff. It's exhausting. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
But we'll keep pushing, because
definitely.
It's what a time to be Filipino.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, what a time to be Filipino. So
it's only up from here.
For the world.
Yeah.
So keep doing what you guys are doing, because we need that.
For sure. For sure. Trying to get our voices heard, trying to get the conversations going. People we want representation in any avenue, any career, any passion, you know, so people know that it's not just seeing someone successful, but that person can be a mentor, a contact, someone you can grow with, you know. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, it's amazing, because we watched Easter Sunday with my children, and I'm in tears. Looking at me like I'm crazy, like, why is this so unique for you? I said, because exactly this. You think it's normal, and that's amazing.
That's such a good point. Oh man.
It's nothing special, because you see your faces in Olivia Rodrigo, in all these other Asians. We never saw that. So for them, it's so normal, and that's why we're here.
That's why we push for it. That's why we push for it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because we're here. The Filipinos are here, and we're not going anywhere.
True.
I
know that you pursued entrepreneurship. We want to know like what your advice is to Filipinos who are trying to find their passion. You know, like a lot of people are kind of lost out there. A lot of, especially the younger generation, trying to find out what the best opportunity is. So what would your advice to them?
My best advice would be really to just push for what you want to do. There will be it won't hurt you to try. The worst that you could do, that could happen to you, is possibly fail. But then even failing, you learn so much from failure. And you just have to make sure you get back up and try again. Try it at least twice. If you fail, try it again. Then, you can figure something else out. But you will never know what you're missing unless you really go for it. You have to really just take that risk and go for it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We ask this to all of our guests that come onto the show, but so what's the big dream here? What's the vision for where you want to be in the next 10, 20 years from now?
Well, the big vision for Cafe 86 right now is for us to be able to start franchising the business. We are actually tying up the loose ends for the franchise model. We are about to complete that model in the fourth quarter of this year. So we are set to start selling the franchise by the first quarter of 2023.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty soon.
Yeah. So the franchise model is going to be up and running soon. We're going to start selling the franchise, and hopefully Cafe 86 could expand even further out, and other people could come and join us with the support that we give. I think that we can do a lot of big things with Cafe 86, spreading out throughout the United States. And we guarantee the support that we will give you is as if we fully own that business. So that's the goal for Cafe 86. Within the next 10 years, I'm hoping to retire.
Yes.
I am going to retire. Along now on the beach. Yeah, taking a vacation. So we're really hustling hard right now so that we can get that one big giant vacation, take the kids somewhere that's not work related. Every vacation to them now is like, are you sure it's a vacation? Because feels like work to us. It's like we're scouting a location. That's the goal. Expand Cafe 86, bring people on board, and join us in opening more locations. And in 10 years, probably go on a long vacation at the Maldives.
Oh, yeah. I'm really, really excited for you guys to expand and franchise because, I mean, you have locations in California and then in Las Vegas, man. Like, I'm pretty sure all the other places, like all the other states, are jealous that they can't get to taste it or they have to come out and visit. Especially with Instagram, the power of the internet now, everybody can see, what you guys make. And that's how we found you guys eventually. When I think the first location I went to was the one in Artesia. Yeah. And we're like, oh, there's this Filipino place you want to try. And I'm like, okay. And we tried the truffles, which was amazing. And then I tried my favorite, the Ube bar, which I have in my refrigerator right now.
That is the sleeper product that a lot of people kind of ignore because it ain't as pretty as the others. But that one contains the most ube halaya.
Oh, wow. That's probably why I love it, because I love ube halaya. Yeah, seriously. And the funny thing is, like, I'm a ube snob, man. And I think I get it from my mom, because, like, sometimes I'll bring my mom desserts from, like ube or whatever. And she's like, that's not ube. And then when I brought home your stuff, Cafe 86, she was like, all right, keep bringing this stuff.
Well, I'm an artist on the product because I grew up in the Philippines. I grew up eating ube halaya out of a jar. The mountain made one, the one that you buy in Baguio. That was like, you don't have to give me any other dessert, just a jar, a spoon, and I'll eat it.
Same.
When we were developing recipes for Cafe 86, I was really like, it has to taste like what I remember it to be. Yeah, I have tasted other things where I'm like, this isn't really, it's just purple. I don't want it purple. I want it to taste like what I remember it.
Yeah.
So I'm really hard on, that's why when people say, oh, make this, I'll eventually do it, but it really takes a lot of R&D for me to be able to release something out there that I'm confident will taste like ube.
You're right. It can't just be purple. I've seen places just dye something purple and call it ube, and that's not it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do want to give the audience an opportunity to find you and reach out to you, follow you on socials. If you want to share even your website, go for it.
Yeah, you can find Cafe 86 on Instagram through Cafe_86. We're also on Facebook under Cafe 86 Official. And if you want to follow my little bit of a crazy, erratic personal account, you can find me on Gingaro, Dingaro. And if Chris follows me, he knows how silly my stories can.
That's how I knew when you said you're an activist. I was like, oh, I could tell from her stories.
My husband will always say, can you just go easy on your... I'm like, okay. My poor kids are like, Mom, okay, fine. It's not easy being my child, so.
Well, thank you so much again, Ginger, for joining us. Can't wait to post this. We'll be posting this for our Filipino American History Month, so looking forward to that.
It's our favorite month of the year, and I can see it. And thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. That was so much fun.
Of course.
Yeah, we loved having you. Thank you for sharing your stories with us.